I'll just tell you about what has happened. So, as you guys know, we switched to United Healthcare last year.
Hang on a second. We're taping it, so you gotta be like right here.
Right here.
Right there. Don't move around too much.
Great, I will stay right here.
You can move your arms and stuff. That's
Perfect. So, as you guys know, last year we switched to United Healthcare, and they're the largest insurance carrier in the country, and 1 in 5 Americans are with them. You've seen a lot of different news about healthcare companies in the last year or so, like Aetna and CVS are merging. Cigna's merging with a company called Express Scripts. You might have even seen that Amazon is planning to get into healthcare. So it's an interesting world we're in right now. Affordable Care Act did not go away last year, which is what we were expecting to maybe happen, which meant this year the taxes for the Affordable Care Act kicked back in, which of course was a bit of a challenge when you go to do a rate renewal. On a positive note, there's really a few main positives we want to highlight today. The first is we're staying with United Healthcare. So all of you who were enrolled last year, you're staying with them, and we did a full market analysis. We looked again at Aetna, Cigna, Blue Cross, and all of that. All of them were more expensive for worse benefits, and that is obviously not our goal. The goal with Lowry is every year to try to find the most affordable plan with the lowest out-of-pocket cost to you guys. And that means two things. So the other two positives are, we unfortunately, when we do these meetings, sometimes have to pass on, double bad news, like, well, your copays are going up and your payroll deductions are going up a lot, and you're going to have to change plans. So obviously, we're not changing plans. That's the first thing. Secondly, you have your new payroll deduction amounts. You guys have probably heard healthcare increases are double digit, like well over 10%, and that is true. Most of the time they are. The final increases for you guys was about 5%. And Lowry's picking up half of that percentage in their contributions. So what you guys are seeing is in essence about a 2.5% increase out of your paychecks. Compared to what a lot of our clients are seeing, that's well above average. In many cases, we're seeing double-digit increases to the employee costs. So that was obviously something we're very happy to tell you guys about. Other thing to point out about these employee costs, because these are on a every 2-week basis, these are before taxes come out. So the other cool thing that has stayed in place is the concept of pre-tax dollars go to pay premiums. So if you get an increase of, in your guys' case, I think it's like a $6 every 2-week increase or so, you're not paying taxes on that extra $6. Or let's use the 110. If you have 20% taken out in taxes, that means you actually are only paying like 80-some of that cost, because the rest of it you're not paying tax on. So just putting that aside. Reason I wanted to highlight that point, and Muni from United will come talk to you in a couple seconds, is that later, as soon as Muni is done walking you through the new plan, so the plan changed slightly, and we're going to talk about the slight changes to the plan. I'm going to come back and talk a little bit about enrolling in what they call a flexible spending account. So that's an option we're making available to all of you this year. It's something Steve and Joe and I spent some time talking about the logistics of, and they felt strongly it was a nice value to provide to you guys. So that's an additional vehicle to put pre-tax money aside for a debit card that you can then swipe when you go to the doctor, or if you were hospitalized or had surgery, prescriptions, dental, vision, those are all the categories you can use it for, and it's a way to budget for out-of-pocket costs. So if you know somebody here has a spouse who's going to have a baby this year, something like that, and you know you're going to be subjected to the hospital costs, which we'll talk about, you can plan ahead to have every 2 weeks, 26 pays a year, a certain amount taken out of your paycheck before taxes, but then that whole amount will get loaded onto that card. So we'll talk about how that could help you guys for budgeting. So really, we always want the takeaways of these meetings to be just pay attention to what Muni's going to highlight about some of the things to know about United Healthcare and your new plan. Secondly, some tips, cost savings tips. She's going to talk about something called virtual visits. I definitely would like you guys to listen to that. That's kind of code for telemedicine. And then also how to best use your pharmacy plan, how to use urgent care instead of an emergency room, how to find the lowest cost physicians, hospitals, facilities, things like that for anything that's subject to out-of-pocket. So really we want this to be a meeting to equip you guys with cost savings tips on how to best use your United Healthcare plan. So at this point, I'm going to have Muni, and they want you to stand right here. because this is recording this. She's going to walk you through the United Healthcare plan. I'll stand by her to help with any questions, and then, as I said, I'll come back at the end and talk about flexible spending account. Go ahead, Uni.
Hello, good morning, everybody. Thank you for choosing United Healthcare as your health carrier for this year. I'm here to talk about your new plans for the next year. And if you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. I will go through your new plan, and then I will talk about some things that are important to note. One of the key things I would like to focus on is the pharmacy benefit, because that's the one benefit almost all our members tend to use. So how does it work? United Healthcare has a different approach from all the other carriers in the market. So knowing how to use your benefit makes it easy when you go to the pharmacy to make sure that you get the prescriptions filled at the right cost at the right time and save you money. So starting in your new medical year, your plans are going to be in this manner. For individuals, you will have a $1,000 deductible, and for families, you will have...
Are we supposed to pass this stuff out?
Oh, if you haven't, please grab one, and you can follow along. I always encourage members to, you can put this in your cubicle, in your car, share with your family so that they can have an idea of what your plans are going to look like. And we'll go through the benefits. We call these benefits at a glance. So you get to know what is covered, what is not covered, and what your responsibility may be. We know that many insurance carriers have moved to high deductible plans. Yours has a deductible, but thankfully Lowry Electrical has made such a great investment in its employees that your deductible exposure is not that great. I have seen some deductibles that tend to be very high. So for somebody who's insuring themselves as an individual, your deductible will be $1,000, and for a family, it's $2,000. What is a deductible? Some of us have cars, car insurance. This is the amount of money that you're responsible for before your health plan kicks in and picks up the tab. So your exposure would be $1,000. Now, this deductible is embedded, meaning that it'll apply to both your medical costs and your pharmacy costs. So all those dollars that you spend will go towards your deductible.
Not co-pays.
Your co-pays do not go towards the deductible, but they do go towards your out-of-pocket maximum, and I'll talk about that in the next minute. And then you do have an out-of-pocket maximum as an individual of $5,000. So your co-pays, your deductible, co-insurance, which you don't have on this plan, any other dollars you spend over and above your deductible will go to your out-of-pocket maximum. And the out-of-pocket maximum, even though many people, cringe because it sounds high, it's a ceiling. It's basically your safeguard. In a plan year, you will not be expected to pay more than your out-of-pocket maximum. It's basically what we call a safeguard, a catastrophic ceiling, so that if I had a really terrible year, I'm not about to spend more than my out-of-pocket maximum. So that is what it does for you. It's a safeguard to let you know that your costs will be capped at this amount. Your preventive care services, like last year and this year, will be covered at 100%. What are your preventive care services? These are your health visits, child immunization, your annual physical. All of these are covered at 100%. So when you do go to see the doctor for your annual physical, you get the blood work done, please just note that that is covered 100%. I will talk about preventive visits again when I talk about how when you go to the doctor, sometimes you may have a question for your doctor, and if you see a bill, why that may have come about. But typically, preventive care visits are covered at 100%.
Now, is that with the copay?
No copays apply. It's 100%. So when you make your appointment and you go to see the doctor, tell them it's an annual visit, and they will bill us as a preventive care visit. In fact, now I'll actually address that point I was going to make. In many cases, you've had members call us and tell us, I went for a preventive care visit, but I got a bill. Why is that? In some cases, when members go to see their doctor for their annual visit, they figure since I had another condition, maybe I had a cough or a sinus infection, I want to talk about it now since I'm here. What that does, it changes the nature of the visit from a preventive care visit to a diagnostic visit, in which case that becomes now a sick visit, and any co-pays or responsibility would be applicable at that time. So my admonishment, my encouragement to members is when you go for your preventive care visit, let it be your preventive care visit. Let them run your blood work. Let them check your cholesterol, blood pressure, all of that. See how you're doing. If you need to go back for a sick visit, then you schedule that for some other time. I know that sometimes members want the convenience of taking care of everything at one time, but if you do bring up a situation, it may be coded as a diagnostic visit, which changes the nature, and then at that point you would be responsible for some dollars. When it comes to office visits, your co-pays are $25. So if I had a sick visit, I know this is flu season, right? So many people are going to see the doctor. If you go see the doctor, that's a $25 co-pay. For specialist visit, that's $50. And virtual visits, which he alluded to, is $10. Now, what's the convenience of virtual visits? Many of us are on the road. I saw so many trucks outside, and I'm also out on the road. Sometimes you want to make an appointment to see a doctor, but you don't have the time to do so. But you would like to get a visit. So with this plan, and with all United Healthcare fully insured plans, we have the option of telemedicine, where you can have a doctor visit on your phone or on a computer, and you will get a consultation with a doctor. We have two networks, Doctor on Demand or Amwell, and they even have the capability of calling in your prescription to your pharmacy, so that as you finish your day, you will swing by the pharmacy, pick up your medication, and go home. I know some of my colleagues have used it when they're on vacation. I have used it when I'm out on the road, especially doing open enrollment meetings. I had a sinus infection, and during my halfway through the day, stopped, had a 10-minute consultation. The doctor, open your mouth, took a look, asked questions, and was able to diagnose that it was a sinus infection. I was able to get my prescription on the way home. Please note, this is not for emergency situations. So if there's profuse bleeding, you have chest pains, or it is something that needs a doctor to look at, touch, manipulate, please use your urgent care or emergency care benefit. This is for those conditions that are easy to diagnose over a computer or a phone, so pink eye, bronchitis, sinus infections. And we do have information on what kinds of conditions you can actually have reviewed over a virtual visit. And at this point, I'm going to pivot and talk about how you can access this. So for all our members, we have a member portal, myuhc.com. And I'll keep referring to it as we go through this presentation. This is where you will be able to set up your virtual visit. You'll be able to see your benefits, how much is my copay, specialist visit. If I need to look up my claims, or I want to pull up an EOB, or I need to search and find care, use your MyUHC portal to do so. You can do that on a computer. And again, I know most of us are mobile, so sitting in front of a computer may not be the most appropriate. That facility is also available on your phone on the Health for Me app. So you can engage with us at any time via the app or myuhc.com. Now, in addition to talking about other ways you can save money when you're going to get care, we always encourage our members to consider using urgent care facilities for non-emergency but urgent conditions. So if I have a sprain or I need to go see a doctor, I need my kid to go see the doctor, definitely encourage use of the urgent care facility. The copay on this is $100. Emergency room is going to cost you what the deductible, it will be the charge that they bill, and that will go towards your deductible. So it tends to be higher, and you may have a longer waiting time when you do go to the emergency room. I know many members were always used to go, like if they had a situation, first thing is go to the emergency room, and then only find that it was a cough or bronchitis. These conditions can be taken care of at an urgent care center very fast and at less cost to you. If you want to talk to me after this session about how we can find urgent care facilities that are in network around you, I'm glad to do so. I definitely encourage members, take the time, play on the website or on the app so you can use your find and price care tool. And in addition to urgent care as an option, for members who need to get some diagnostic services, so if I need an MRI or some kind of CAT scan, again, consider using freestanding facilities. These are going to save you a lot of money, same quality of care, but it's going to be less than having to go to a hospital-based facility. This is one of the questions that I get a lot. So definitely consider freestanding facilities for care. One of the things that United Healthcare takes very seriously is making sure that our providers give the best quality of care, and then we rank them again by cost, knowing that members have some responsibility. If I have a deductible, I want to be sure that since the money's coming out of my pocket, I'm being a wise consumer of health care. So can I pause and ask if there are any questions before I move on? Yes, sir.
What's the coverage for if you want to get LASIK done?
I will have to look at that after this, and I can let you know. With United Healthcare, our members do get discounts through United Health Allies. Doesn't cover the cost, and I'll find out what the vision coverage is and confirm that. But we can get members discounts on LASIK surgery.
We do offer a voluntary vision option with United, so do you remember if you elected that last year?
I wasn't here last year.
Okay, so we can sign you up for that, so then there'll be the discount and some additional vision coverage as well. And that's available to all of you. We can get you guys some more information. One quick thing I wanted to add, that health and then the number 4, me, is that the
Yes.
app? I highly recommend all of you, especially with the new plan, get that Health for Me apps on your phone. It's also going to tie into when I talk about the flexible spending account later. But in particular, that's going to help you find all those urgent care centers that participate. So if you guys are ever in the Quakertown area, you'll notice that that stretch on 309, right by 663, has now like 5 urgent care centers right there. So MedExpress, the St. Luke's Outpatient, the Grandview Outpatient Center, Patient First, you guys have heard of all these places. These are what Muni's talking about as $100 emergency room alternatives, basically, versus that $1,000 deductible emergency room option. Now, if you've already met the $1,000 deductible because you had a surgery or a hospitalization, then emergency room is covered 100%. So that's a whole separate issue. But we really want you guys to be better consumers of your plan, and honestly, and actually, it's more about convenience, right? At an emergency room, if it's not a life-threatening emergency, you're going to be in line, and you're going to probably have to wait several hours before you're treated. These urgent care centers are much quicker. So I just don't want to lose that point while we were on that really quick. And that's definitely one of those cost savings options we wanted to spend some time on. And then I love the telemedicine. It's only $10.
Right.
And I've got personal stories. My wife, I might have shared the story before, but it's a good one. My wife's allergic to poison ivy, and she was outside weeding on a Saturday night, and then Sunday morning woke up with her face all in hives from touching her face, from touching the poison ivy. So doctor wasn't open, it's a Sunday morning, guests were coming over to our house. So she asked me, what should I do? I went on my Carrier app, I typed in allergic reaction to poison ivy, up popped the option, do you want to try telemedicine? Because that's one of the conditions you can treat. So sinus infection, bronchitis, things like that, some dermatology type things they can do over the phone. They had me take a picture of her face, text it in to the company. My wife then made me destroy the picture of her face because they didn't want no evidence of that. And then they called back within 10 minutes, said it's an allergic reaction to poison ivy, called in a prednisone prescription to the 24-hour CVS in Souderton. $7 is what that cost me. So these copays for prescriptions are up to the cost. So their United's prescription discounts are so good, significant, you're going to only have to pay what their cost is. So that's a real life example of how the $10 diagnosis in 10 minutes
Right.
and then a $7 prescription, and my wife had what she needed, she was better by that afternoon. So we want to make sure you guys are thinking, and the app's probably the best way to remind you.
Right.
Because if you've got that Health for Me app and you've registered with your ID number, you'll think more about checking it, because that can also be your temporary ID card. It could
Right.
be where you can check the status of a prescription, for example. Later, it's going to be where you can check your balance for that flexible spending account, if that's something you guys are choosing to elect. But it's available to all of you, and I do want you guys to be thinking about that, because that's a really nice benefit. I've been using them for years, and I'll touch on that a little bit more later. But yeah, Health for Me app, if you don't remember much else we said today, everything we did say today is going to be loaded on that Health for Me app with your ID number. So all of these same copays and stuff will be there as well.
Right.
So you'll have the ability to look up your plan and see it when you're on the road, as opposed to have this paper
Right.
with you at all times.
Right, right. Exactly right. And to his point, you know, if you lose your ID card or you're at the doctor's office or a pharmacy trying to pick up a prescription, you can always pull up your ID card on the app. So I see a number of us have smartphones, and you're able to use and manage your health benefit on the app, on your phone, without having to wait to get home to get on a computer. And it also allows you to call us directly. You don't have to memorize our number. You can call United Healthcare directly from the app. If you have a question about your app, your care, you have a claim question, or where should I go for care? I feel a little congested. I'm not sure if it's my chest hurting. I need to know if I should go to an urgent care or an emergency room, or my child is wheezing. What is the best course of action? Calling us via the app will get you an advocate, a nurse advocate, who will tell you, this is where you need to go for care, and that way at least you know you're making a good choice for yourself. And while we're talking about places to receive care, I like pointing out at open enrollment meetings, and I remind members, even during the course of your plan year, if you have to get any lab work done, LabCorp is the in-network lab for United Healthcare. If you go to Quest or your doctor sends your draw to Quest, you would be responsible for the cost. So you want to stay in the network, and LabCorp is the network lab for United Healthcare.
Which, if you guys remember, like 3 years ago and before, that was who Independence Blue Cross also uses. So hopefully you guys have gotten used to that. The only carrier who didn't use them was Aetna, but this is now our second year with United. So LabCorp, and there's a lot of LabCorps around as well. And you see that that's 100%, and there's no deductible for
Correct.
blood work as well.
Right.
So if you go once a year and get your physical, which I recommend you guys all do, and there's nothing wrong with you, you already qualified that for the most part. Then that's no copay. And then if they send you for blood work to check how are you doing overall, that's also no cost. So truly just going and getting checkups, and that's the same for spouses for their annual checkups, children for their immunizations and their checkups. I imagine something like a flu shot,
Right.
these types of things.
They'll cover.
So if you're the type of person who's like, yeah, you know what, I don't really use the plan, I don't really go to the doctor, there's a few free things you can be using the plan for to actually help you not have to go to the doctor. Because, you know, you get that stuff done. You guys have probably heard about the flu epidemic this past year. I did get a flu shot, and it was, I think they said it was 38% effective. So far, knock on wood somewhere, it's been 38% effective. I've had no issues. But these are things you want to try to do to not have to miss time from work or be sick. So
Right.
another reminder. And actually, in your booklet,
Right. I was going to.
page 4, yeah, it has the list of the ways to use the different
Correct.
options. So.
Where to find care. So if you like some light reading, and I mean light, this is not going to put you to sleep. This little booklet has an overview of your plan. So take the time, take a glance. If it's not your thing, you can give it to your spouse, and they can review it and tell you what is covered, what is not. But this will definitely let you know how your plan works. The last thing I'll talk about before I pivot to pharmacy is diagnostics, major diagnostics, and I referred to that when I talked about freestanding facilities. I used to be a runner. I'm not doing that anymore, it's too cold. But because I was running, I had runner's knee. and I had to figure out where to go get it reviewed. I wasn't sure if to go to the hospital for an MRI or a freestanding facility for the MRI. Per your plan, if you go to a freestanding facility, a freestanding imaging and diagnostic center, that's only going to cost you $500. It doesn't apply to your deductible. However, if you go to a hospital-based facility, that cost goes up to $750. So keep this in mind when you're thinking about finding and pricing care. We encourage members, and not just United Healthcare, most carriers in the market are now encouraging members to use the tools they have for their members to find and price care so that you don't get sticker shock when a bill comes to you and wonder, why is this bill costing me this much? So definitely pay attention to some of the freestanding facilities in your neighborhood. I always encourage members to take a look, go onto the tool and search the ones that are in your neighborhood before you need them, because when you're sick, the last thing I'm thinking about is, oh my gosh, did they say Patient First was in network or not? At least if you search before, you know that Patient First is in network and you can go there for treatment. Now, let me talk about our favorite subject, pharmacy. United Healthcare takes a unique approach to our prescription drug list. Other carriers arrange the prescription drug list in 3 tiers. You have the generics in tier 1, which is the lowest cost. Then they'll have brand, and then they'll have non-formulary medications. Now, with United Healthcare, you may find some brand medications in tier 1, the lowest cost tier. This is because we always review our prescription drug list every 6 months to make sure that members are getting the best cost effectiveness and clinical effectiveness for their prescriptions. We know drugs are coming into the market, others are going out of patent, and all these things have cost implications. If anyone can remember the EpiPen episode of last year, you'll understand why members are very sensitive about the cost of drugs. So anytime you see our prescription drug list, we will not just group it in broad strokes, generic, brand, and non-formulary. It'll be tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. And even as we have put them in these 3 separate tiers, you'll notice that there may be medications that are available to you at no cost. So due to the Affordable Care Act, you'll find contraceptives may be covered at no cost. You may find smoking cessations medications are covered at no cost. So if you do have a prescription that you're currently taking, I encourage you, take the time, get on our website or get on the myuhc. The Health For Me app, and see what tier your medication falls under. While we are talking about prescriptions, one member resource that I love to bring out at open enrollment meetings and even at future meetings with members is our mail order opportunity. If you're on a maintenance medication, say you're on a diabetes medication or cholesterol, high blood pressure, something that you take every month to take care of yourself, you may have the opportunity to get cost savings by signing up for mail order. With mail order, you get a 3-month supply of your medication delivered to you to your house at a 2.5-month copay. So you get the convenience of having the medication delivered to you. All you have to do is call, verify that that's the prescription, that's the address, and the method of payment. Now, please note, one of the things that is going to happen when you come onto the new plan, you have to inform your doctor, you have to inform your pharmacist, and if you had any medications that qualify for mail order, you will have to make a choice. Actually, all prescriptions that are considered maintenance medications, you will get a communication from United Healthcare letting you know about the mail order program. The first time may be a letter, or it'll be the first time you fill your prescription, you may get a letter from us asking you to call OptumRx. The way the plan works is you could fill the first 2 fills at the retail pharmacy. So the plan begins, I go to the pharmacy, I pick up my medication, and I get a letter from United, please call us. The second month, I go fill up my prescription. The pharmacist tells me, call United Healthcare. Sometimes I've had members call, is my medicine not covered? Why are they asking me to call? We need you to take action. We want you to tell us if you'd like to opt in for mail order, in which case you can verify your address and information and prescription that you want to put on mail order, or opt out. Say, you know what, I love my pharmacist, this is my only time I get to catch up with them, so I want to go to the pharmacy, so don't enroll my medication on mail order. It is not mandatory, but we do need members to take action. So what I tell our members is, when you get your ID card, make a mental note that I have something to do. One, sign up for my UHC.com, download the app, and take care of my prescription. So I can do it online, select to opt out of mail order, or select to opt in. If I don't want to do it on the phone or on the computer, I can call in. I can call Optum and tell them, I have these prescriptions, I do not want mail order. Or I have these prescriptions, I want 2 on mail order. Or my daughter has a prescription, she's in college, I need her medication shipped to her. So that way we get to serve you the way you want us to serve you. But please note, you have to take action. If you don't take action, the third time you go to the pharmacy, they'll tell you, we can't fill your prescription until you call United Healthcare. Now, please note, we're not saying we are denying your prescription. We're saying, please let us know what your choice is. We don't want you to lose the opportunity for savings, so take action and let us know how you'd like to receive your prescriptions.
So they're already all members, so would they've already gone through that process last year with you?
Right.
Okay.
If you'd already done it before, then you don't have to do it again. But if you got a new prescription, right?
Okay, so she's saying every time something new, you have to make this choice if it's also available through mail order.
Right.
Right.
If it's
So that's
a
like your
maintenance
cholesterol
medication.
med, high blood pressure medication, things like that you take every single month. And I use mail order personally, and you do save on the copays. Like Mimi says, you'll pay 2.5 instead of 3 copays, so that'll save you money over time. And then I get a refill thing like every 90 days, about a month before it's up. And like right now, I have my last couple weeks of March, and then I've got April through June already has been sent to my house. So there's always that overlap, and you never have to. I actually kind of like that I don't have to go to the pharmacy. That it already just shows up in the mail and it's good to go. So if anybody's taking something every day, I definitely recommend you just go ahead and say yes to the mail order, because later when I talk about the flexible spending account, you can use pre-tax money to pay for that as well. So I've actually linked my prescription to a pre-tax way of paying for my prescription, and that's actually kind of a win-win basically.
Do we have any questions on the prescription drug list on our pharmacy program before I pivot again? Any questions? Comments?
Couple of questions.
Sure.
So when you're saying about the imaging services,
Mm-hmm.
like my family doctor is in St. Luke's Hospital,
Okay.
so you're telling me it's cheaper for me to go somewhere else?
Right. So when you go see the doctor and he says, I need you to get, say, an MRI. Let's use an MRI. You can let him know that if I do it here in the hospital, it'll cost me more. And these facilities that are close to me are considered freestanding. He'll write you a prescription, and you can go get the MRI, and they'll send the results to your doctor's office.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, and then the emergency room,
Mm-hmm.
we don't have a deductible, it's what we don't have
There's no copay.
there's no copay, it's what our remaining deductible is.
Yes.
Right. So it'll be the
That
cost
is
of
the
the
main
visit.
difference
If
of the
I'm there
plan.
because I broke my arm and I broke
Right.
a cast on me and I owe $750 towards my deductible,
Right.
Right.
that's what I have to pay.
So a broken arm is a great example, though. That can be urgent care, and that's $100. So broken bones, sprains, those are, believe it or not, those are not emergent. And you'll see on page 4 of that book, emergency is shortness of breath, uncontrolled bleeding, heart attack, stroke.
Right.
You know, those are emergencies. So there's definitely been a clamping down, not by just United Healthcare. All the insurance carriers have made this change. And then you'll see there's like a little reminder at the bottom of don't go to what they call a freestanding emergency room. I think that's in other parts of the country.
Right.
I don't think that's a local issue. Here we're pretty clear. It's they're an emergency room, which is a hospital, or it's an urgent care center.
Right.
So if you go to an urgent care center, you're gonna avoid that whole deductible issue, which is what I would recommend. But then yes, shortness of breath, heart attack,
Stroke.
uncontrolled bleeding, stroke, those become emergencies, absolutely. So just think a little bit more along the lines of urgent care, and yeah, broken bones is a good example of urgent care.
Okay.
Is freestanding just like anything outside of the hospital?
Yeah, pretty much.
Typically, yeah.
Yeah.
And-
So in the other category, we touched on briefly, but didn't circle back on is convenience care clinics. That was a $25 copay.
Like the Minute
The minute
Clinic,
clinics at CVS,
Rite
places
Aid.
like that, yeah.
the Ready Clinics,
Right.
those are also available to you as an option for service.
So like ear infection, things like that, and you just need a quick diagnosis and an antibiotic, and you can't get to the primary doctor or something, you've got that $25 option at CVS's, Walgreens, I
Right.
think. These kinds of, so those places, a lot of these pharmacies now have these standalone clinic options. Those are also an option for you guys. So there's a lot of options actually, as you can tell.
Right.
And then the telemedicine for $10.
Exactly. And what I was going to also mention, when you go online, again, you notice that it sounds like I'm steering you to the website and the app. You'll see freestanding facilities denoted with a little green arrow, and it has a $sign. Now, not everybody's computer savvy, not everybody wants to be on their phone. If you don't have access to a phone or to your computer, but you want to make sure you're going to the right place for care, you can always call us. The number at the back of your ID card will put you directly with an advocate, and they will look up your benefits. When you call them and you identify yourself, your information pops up, what your copays are, what your plan is. They'll put you directly with an advocate who will advise you on the best place to get care for your condition. So you have multiple ways to get in touch with us and to look up ways to get service and care.
We don't need referrals with our plan, do we?
No, we don't.
And no choosing doctors.
You don't have
This
to
is
do
it. If you guys remember the old personal choice, it's like that. It's a PPO, it is national.
It is
So
national.
if you guys are going to Disney World with your family, to the shore, whatever, there's United Healthcare doctors throughout the entire country. All of those other things we just talked about, CVS is throughout the country, urgent care centers throughout the country.
Right.
All of those things, obviously telemedicine is virtual, you can do it anywhere. So what's really cool is this plan also travels extremely well. The old Blue Cross, like Keystone plan we had was very, very local. This is definitely
national.
more of a national style plan for you guys.
Any other questions before I talk about some of your member resources? So how many of you had an opportunity to log into the website last year? Great, great. Did you see or log onto Rally? Ah, awesome. So Rally is your wellness, your personal wellness portal. And what this allows members to do is set up wellness goals and achieve wellness goals. So one of the first things that you can do on Rally is fill out a health survey, and it gives you your Rally age. Now, mine fluctuates through the year. When it's busy season, I'm older than my physical age because I don't sleep. My stress is out of control. When it's in the summer, I'm taking care of myself. My Rally age gets close to my real age. By completing the survey, I win coins, virtual coins, which I can use to enter sweepstakes. And I can win a multiple variety of prizes. Apple Watches, Apple gift cards, or Whole Foods or Amazon gift cards. They always have different raffle prizes available for members to bid on. So when you engage in Rally in your personal wellness, you earn coins, which is great, and you can use these coins to enter sweepstakes to win prizes. And also, if you choose, you can also donate those coins to a cause. Other things you can do on Rally is set a mission. I know one of the big things when physical trackers came out was walking 10,000 steps a day. With Rally, you can actually set a mission for yourself based on your health goals. So if it means moving more or sleeping better or cooking at home, or if it's a financial goal, you can actually set a mission. And what this will allow you to do is engage with other people in the Rally world who have the same goal. You can enter challenges so you can compete against other people, or you could also just do it for yourself. So every time you go on, you actually check to say, you know what, I cooked at home today, and you earn coins. And that allows you to meet your wellness goals as well. Something we did new this year that we are providing to all our members is Real Appeal. Now, I don't know, with my audience, I'm not sure if this is a big thing or a small thing, but I know I've had groups where when I talked about Real Appeal, so many people were excited. It's a weight loss program. It is free to all members, and what it does is you get a virtual nutrition coach. You will get delivered to you. I wish I brought the box with me.
There's a picture of the box.
Exactly.
I don't think all of you guys have the folders, but when you grab these, there's a brochure in here about the weight loss program that's for free.
Right.
And yeah.
So you'll get this box. We call it a success box. It'll have a food scale, a weight scale, a blender, measuring spoons, measuring cups, recipe books, exercise videos. I mean, everything but the excuse to allow you to lose weight. Because we know sometimes, especially when you're sedentary, we don't move as much or we don't eat as healthy as we'd like. And when we participate with other people with the same goals, we're able to lose weight. We have had such great success stories with this Real Appeal program. Members are losing 3 to 5% of their body weight in the first 6 months of the program. It is a 52-week program. Again, I said free. F-R-E-E. You do not pay a thing. And what members get is all these tools to allow you and your spouse to participate so that you can talk to somebody who will talk about if it's helping you set a good eating program. They'll help you with that. How to read food labels. They'll help you with that. So every week you log on. It can be one-on-one or it can be in a group session, and you will work with your coach to get you to the weight goals that you have. So this is available to all our members, and if anybody in this organization is interested, please let me know. We'll definitely let the HR person know. The website is Engage Real Appeal. Log in, and you'll get set up. So you'll have a pre-screening, and then once you're in the program, the box comes to your house. I think that is one of the most innovative programs we have for our members. Very many people are excited about it. So if weight loss is a goal, definitely look into Real Appeal. The other program I want to talk about is our Care 24 program. I know we brought it up last year, especially because so many of our members in Texas and some parts of the country were affected by the hurricanes. And we know that life sometimes can get hard. Care 24 is an employee assistance program that's embedded in your health benefits. So if something were to happen and I needed to speak with a counselor or a legal person or a mental health professional, without having to use my mental health benefit on my medical plan, your Care 24 program allows you to do so. So, you know, if you're going through a divorce or you've lost somebody or you're just overwhelmed, because life can get that way, Care 24 allows you to have access to trained professionals to assist you with those concerns. Any questions? Yes, sir.
Do you get a refund if you go to the gym a certain amount of times?
Unfortunately, we don't have a gym reimbursement program. But I'm telling you, log on to Rally, you'll see different tools that we have, but we don't have a gym reimbursement program.
So what Muni's talking about right now, you guys can get all the resources on, and actually it answers the LASIK question as well. So in this booklet, pages 10 and 11, talk about Rally, which is that Rally age, which is the coins, which
Right.
you can, for gift cards and other prizes. The discounts, which then it does list laser eye surgery as one of the examples. It also lists fitness equipment. So it's not so much
Right.
going to the gym, but you could get gym equipment.
Or
You-
trackers if you're,
wearable
devices,
that type of thing.
Apple Watch, that kind of thing to help you get your goal.
And hearing devices, things like that. But then over here is that care line.
Yeah,
that
Care
Mimi was talking
24.
about.
Yes.
And it's liveandworkwell.com also is a resource. And in light of, you guys know in the news all the time, the opioid crisis and all that, this is another example of where United actually has support. So sometimes clients we work with have to purchase a separate vendor for what they call an employee assistance program to provide that as a resource. And Mimi touched on all the different ways you can use it: marital support,
Financial
loss of a loved
support,
one, financial
legal
stress,
advice, right.
emotional stress. Again, things like addictions and so on.
Right.
It's fully available to you and your covered family members, this live in work well benefit. So I definitely recommend you be familiar with it and know that United is more than just the thing you use when you go to the doctor. And the pharmacy and things like that. Because what we're finding with our clients is they're looking for more and more resources. And one of the nice things in having this partnership with United is they make pretty much all of the resources we need available through them.
Right. Right. So, and so thank you so much for actually mentioning, the addiction crisis. If for any reason you need, so we have the Care 24, which is your employee assistance program, but if you need to speak to a therapist for whatever reason, you do have that benefit in your medical plan, and you'll see when you go online, we also have the opportunity for telemental health. So the same way you can see a doctor for a rash or pink eye is the same way I can see a therapist if I need to see one. Now, please note, if you'd like to use this opportunity to see a telemental professional, you can select one within our Optum network that will allow you to transition from seeing the doctor on your phone or computer to an actual visit. So if you choose that option, my advice, use our Optum network, and they will allow you to find professionals who you can see virtually as well as physically. Now, what I will point out is with the telemental health benefit, it will be, the claim goes according to your mental health benefits in your plan. So it's not like a virtual visit. It will not be the $10 copay. It is $50, but it's still available to members, and it's worth looking into if you are seeking that kind of help.
Well, and oftentimes there's a long wait to get in to see a therapist. So
Right.
obviously you could see one more
Much
quickly
right.
this way, and it's the same benefit, and it's basically the same people. They just participate both as in person and
Virtually.
online, basically. So that is definitely a great area. I'm really glad that that's included.
Any questions?
All right, well, we want to, in the interest of time, wrap up with this other handout, which I think most of you have been glancing at. The picture of the mom and the baby on the front about the welcome, a guide to your flexible spending account. So that's also through United's sister company called Optum. It is, again, free to you guys to participate in. There is the election of how much you want to put in pre-tax to fund a debit card. But if you guys have ever been anywhere else and heard about a flexible spending account card, the concept behind it is, and it's really, I'm noticing this year more than ever, and I think the last couple of years everyone's been waiting to see what's going to happen with the Affordable Care Act. It seems to be here to stay. So now people are focused on, well, how do I save money, right? So now that we went from a copay only plan, and just to be reasonable about the change to the plan or acknowledge it, the old plan had a $300 hospital copay up to 5 days. So if you had a 5-day hospitalization, you would have gotten a $1,500 bill. This new plan is going to cap you at $1,000. So it's just a different mechanism. It's changing from multiple day copays to a one-time $1,000 bill, and then we talked about a number of ways you don't have the deductible at all. So we wanted you guys to know, yes, the change happened. Muni started the meeting by saying this is still lower than most deductibles. I work for 900 employee Univest. I have a $5,000 deductible, and nothing's covered. I have nothing free, basically. I have to put everything towards a $5,000 deductible. So as you can imagine, I have no interest in footing all $5,000 with after-tax money. So actually what I do is every 2 weeks, I agree to have money put aside in a pre-tax account called a flexible spending account that's available to me to swipe for whenever me, my wife, or my 3 daughters, who are all on my plan, are going and using a service that's going towards that $5,000 deductible. So in your guys' case, that $1,000 deductible is the first place to focus on, right? So if you know there's a chance you're gonna have a surgery or a hospitalization or something that you're gonna meet that deductible, you know, dividing that by 26 pays, we're in the $40-ish range every 2 weeks is what that would be, but that would be before taxes. And you could have, so let's say that's really like only $32 or something like that of real dollars coming out of your paycheck. You can fund all $1,000. And then what's awesome about that is that can be used for a variety of services. So it can be for the deductible if you're going to be subject to that, but it's also for co-pays, it's also for pharmacy, it's also for vision. LASIK is a good example, you can use it for that. It's also for
The diagnostic services.
any of the other services or co-pays. The $500 for the MRI we talked about, you could use it for that. And you can use it for dental care as well. So what I find every year, yes?
Just curious then, if you decide, does that money expire? And if we were next year to switch to a different healthcare
Right.
provider, do you lose that money?
All great questions. So 2 things. Optum is a standalone company from United Healthcare. So we can actually have Optum with any other carrier. That's actually why I'm talking now instead of Muni. So it's their sister company. It's not actually United, but because it's a sister company, they make it free. So it might change from being free to us having a small admin fee, which we would probably go ahead and pay to maintain. If we leave, we can still keep this. So that's, yes, that is why it's a standalone thing. Secondly, we can elect a $500 rollover. And that's what I'm gonna recommend as we set this up, we would elect, which means you could elect 1,000, anything above 500 you would lose, but up to 500 you can roll over into the next year. So that would be the amount I would recommend we would elect, because then that way you can be conservative, plan for the whole 1,000 if you don't end up having that many services. I'm sure you can find $500 worth of stuff. My wife goes and spends $300 on a pair of glasses, that counts. So just to give you an idea, there's a lot of ways to spend that money. You go to an urgent care center, that's $100, etc. So you guys get the idea of how that works. So it's optional, nobody has to take it. Great question, because I agree, if we ended up switching carriers, I don't want you guys to lose this benefit. I think we want this to be the new normal, regardless of who the carrier is, and we want to get you guys thinking about financial wellness. This is really in that category of financial wellness. How do I save money? Using the things I would already be using. So that's available to you. Now I do need to ask you a question, because it does direct them to myuhc.com.
Yes.
So to sign up, what do they need to do?
They will need to go to myuhc.com once it is set up. So there will be some work behind the scenes. The employer will send us a form with to set up the account for Lowry Electrical. But once that is active, you will see your balances show up on myuhc.com. So you will see when you log in, you see, claims, pharmacy, and as you scroll down, you see my balance on my FSA account is $300. And you scroll down, you see Rally. So all of that, the beauty of being sister companies is that we're able to integrate our platform. So we can see what, any information from the pharmacy. Your prescriptions are listed there, so you don't have to log on to 2 websites. If it's your FSA, your account balances show on your MyUHC portal, so it's one login.
So, okay, so that's what'll happen after you guys have picked how much you want to have come out of your paychecks.
Right.
So it sounds like on the front end, what we need you guys to decide, because you can do up to $2,600 a year. That's the federal maximum. But I gave examples of 1,000, cut that in half to 500, and then that's the rollover amount. So obviously, if you just elect the rollover amount, if you don't spend a dime of it, you can roll all of it over into the next plan year. So we're gonna start this as of April 1. Who can I sign up to go see if they wanna sign up? Is there anybody designated, Joe? You?
Oh, no, to sign up for this?
Yeah, if they wanna elect a dollar amount,
Yeah, Brittany handles
Brittany, okay, so go, let Brittany know, and she will put down the annual amount you're electing, divide that by 26, or you can say how much you're willing to have out per pay. Brittany will give us a spreadsheet to Lori, which we will upload to United, which is, as Muni's describing, and then it'll come out of your paychecks, and we'll talk about that, and then you will get that amount loaded onto a card to use. To use for copays. So the mechanism, just like if you wanted to sign up for the voluntary vision insurance, go see Brittany, same thing for this. If you want to elect this benefit, go see Brittany. We can do it on the United form. If there's another form, we'll get it to Brittany for you guys to like. Even this afternoon, we'll get it over to her. But basically, you're ultimately going to be seeing it on your United Healthcare account. So that's the advantage of it being a sister company, but it being a sister company also means it's a standalone benefit we're doing through Optum. And it's Optum Bank is the name of the account, and then they're the ones who will issue the debit card and all of that. So it's a nice convenience being made available to us through United Healthcare that we wanted to take advantage of for you guys.
Can I make a plug for the voluntary vision? Oh, did you have a question?
Yes, I do. So if you have more than the 500 at the end of the year,
Yes,
and you lose that money,
yes.
you can claim that on taxes? Do you know anything about that?
So there's, believe it or not, there's actually an asterisk in here about I'm not supposed to answer tax questions, but here's what I'm gonna say. Here's how it works on taxes, as I understand it. If you incur more than a certain amount of your total income in healthcare spending, and that would be a healthcare spending in the year, then yes, you can claim that. I will say this about flexible spending account, because I just did my taxes. That $5,000 I put aside pre-tax does come off the top on your tax return. So if you elect $1,000, it's gonna come off the top. So you're gonna, like, if your tax bracket's whatever, 20%, and that $1,000 is actually being accounted as part of your pay normally, when you go to do your taxes at the end of the year, they subtract how much you have to pay tax on by that $1,000. So that's actually really how it works. I don't know about leftover. Leftover just sort of stays in the bank account is basically how it works. Because it's basically a joint bank account from what all of you guys elect added all together. It's pretty much how that works. So it's all part of that rollover money and all that. But the claiming part is more, I think it's twofold. The main one I could say for sure is whatever amount you elect is coming off your taxes. Yes.
Could you use that money towards like cosmetic or like braces or anything like that?
Braces, yes.
Braces, yes.
Yes, so orthodontia is actually how I spent $2,000 of my dollars last year. So I have a middle daughter who's been getting about $9,000 worth of dental work, and I every year am paying the orthodontist a couple $1,000, and I'm using my pre-tax money for that. Cosmetic, if it's for medical necessity reasons, like you've had a burn or disabling, dismemberment or disfigurement kind of a thing, and it's to restore you, but not elective cosmetic. So you'll see kind of the list in here of the things you can use it for. But orthodontia, braces, absolutely yes.
Yeah, no Botox.
No Botox, there we go, we threw that in there. Yes.
And they'll issue like multiple cards.
Yes, you can have one for adult dependents. So like I have an 18-year-old college student and my wife, for example, they can also get their own card to swipe, all towards that same account.
Right.
Yes.
You'll have to let us know. Typically, we'll give the account holder, but if you allow, let's say, your spouse or an adult dependent to have access to the account, notify us and we'll send out a card.
Yeah, so it's a family account, and it's funny, when I first was like, oh, do I want to do this or not? I was thinking about how little I use the medical plan, right? So a lot of you guys, I imagine, don't use the medical plan much. But my wife and daughters, they use it a lot. So I will say every year, that amount we're putting in my Flex account, it's so that we have pre-tax money aside for them to swipe, that it's not a credit card that I'm paying interest on or anything like that. It's this, again, I almost look at it more like a gift card. It's like a preloaded gift card. Like you've preloaded $1,000 on a card that you get to spend on things you already might be incurring. but you're not paying tax on it. So, and again, you have to treat it like cash because it is cash. It's another bank account that you're able to have available to you to use. So, again, just to let you guys know, this is not random. As Steve and Joe and I were strategizing about this renewal, we said if we're gonna make a change, and Joe pointed this out, we've never really had a deductible here. We've always had co-pays. I said, well, then we really should also make sure we offer this flexible spending account. Because if we're gonna have a change in the way your plan works, we'd like to give you guys the ability to stay as whole as possible. And actually, you could, on some levels, you can probably see how you can almost come out ahead with some of these changes in the plan. If you start using the plan a little differently, urgent care, care clinics, telemedicine, et cetera, the things we've been talking about, instead of maybe how you've done it in the past, going to hospitals and going to emergency rooms, you'll all actually have less out of your pocket. And interestingly, you guys are just large enough that how much the overall company uses the plan has an impact on our rates in the future, not just with them, but who we can get rates from other carriers. And if we're all in this together and we all do some of these cost savings strategies, then in the future we hope to be able to say, hey, this year payroll deduction stayed the same or went down. Which I will point out, the last 2 years, there's been no increase in the payroll deduction. So this year was the first time in 3 years we had to have a minor increase. We tried to keep it as absolutely low as possible. Some of these plan changes were some of the trade-offs, obviously, but we didn't want to go like, what's the worst plan United offers? And for example, what I have at Univest would be the worst plan, a $5,000 deductible and nothing's covered. That would be an example of a worst plan. That would have saved everybody money, but it would have cost you guys gobs of money to use. And we didn't want to do something like that. So one last aside, because we're at over an hour at this point. Aetna, who you had a couple of years ago, just reconciled that plan year, and they have a small refund they're giving back. It's related to the Affordable Care Act, and that if they collect more than they paid out, they have to give back a refund, and that's going to get distributed back to all of you accordingly, and it's going to be credited against this new payroll deduction. So we're still calculating what that is. It's not a lot, so I'm not too excited about it. But across the board, each of you will be getting an amount of this payroll deduction reduced by the amount Aetna's giving back from a couple of years ago. So we'll more to come on that once we calculate the amounts.
You know what the
for you guys.
line will be, or time will be, will know that? When will we know that? Like how soon will we know what the amount will be?
I just need to get some paperwork from Aetna and divide it amongst all of you, so it shouldn't take that long. Yeah.
Okay.
So we just got notice of this, literally, so it's like hot off the presses, but we'll get that
I
information.
did hear about that earlier.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we'll get that information shortly. So that was pretty much it for today. As Muni said, we're available for private questions because we know it's not always easy to ask in a group like this a lot of private medical questions. We'll turn off the recorder, Joe. For the private medical questions, we'll turn off the recording. I'm just kidding. And also Lori is available, I'm available, Muni's available. But thank you all very much for attending. Please grab one of these. And see Brittany if you want to sign up for the flex.
Since the storm, we have a lot of guys that need to fill out affidavits for insurance companies. I need to see Tom, Arnold, Keith, Matt S., Lee, Tim, and Matt D.
Yeah, I mean, I should see. Per day.
Yeah.